Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of a brand new podcast, The Kilted Kickoff. All things Scottish rugby. Edinburgh, Glasgow, women's rugby news, players in the Prem, everything. I'm Murray.
You're way
Also
too
known
excited
as...
for this.
I'm so excited. No, you've already interrupted me. It's great. I'm Murray, on TikTok, Bus for Rugby, and my beautiful co-host, Dan, also known as the Rugby Realm. How you getting on, man?
Yeah, good, good. I'm actually shocked at how quickly I've become a little bit obsessed with TikTok and how quickly like your followers and that start to snowball. It's like I'm only a month in. I've had other people that I used to watch on there have reached out to me. Some of them are actually helping sort of make logos and that. So yeah, it's great. Moving back up to Scotland just a couple of months ago, it feels like everything's happened all at once. So just getting settled in, getting to go to games again, and not having to watch them on the TV. So lots happening. What about you?
I'm all good, yeah. Lots of rugby. Some disappointing results, but it is what it is. We'll dive into it. But for those that don't know, me and Dan have been friends for how long now? 2, 3 years now?
Yeah, 2 years, I'd say at least. Like I knew Murray before he became blissful. Um,
There you go.
so that's how long ago it is. I used to run a little forum on a Facebook page before bots ruined it, and I went around all the different fan pages. And I think this is how me and you met originally. And I
Yeah.
tried to start, a big URC chat where people from all different teams from around the league, and it was awful. Like nothing got said in it. It was incredibly awkward. And there was you and there was my mate Gav that were in it that actually participated, and I already had my own, group chat on the side, and I just said, yeah, I'm just putting you in that one, mate. And then next I went to, I think it was a Scotland game. Who were we playing the first time I met you in person?
Oh God, I can't remember. Don't
I mean,
matter.
I remember I met you by the gates, but yeah, I can't remember what game we were at. It was a Scotland game anyway.
Yeah, we've met at a Scotland game. We've been to Scotland games together. We've been at Edinburgh games together. Probably be at a Glasgow game some point this season together. I imagine.
I I'm actually going to see my very first Glasgow Champions Cup game later on this year. I'm going to see Glasgow versus Racing on the 10th of January for my birthday.
Oh, nice. Well, I was actually going to get tickets for that anyway, so you've ruined your surprise. Fine.
Well,
Anyway,
I've not got the tickets yet, but go on.
that's fine. It's all good. We'll celebrate it anyway, regardless. But this week's rugby, we're a bit late in the season. We are week 3 in, but good things come to those who wait. Glasgow Warriors, we start with the champions, flying high.
Yeah. Where do you want to start? Do you want to start back from their defeat against Ulster, or do you want to just jump straight back to Cardiff?
Just jump to Cardiff.
Right, yeah.
Some game.
Definitely. Really, really, really good game. I feel like you're going to pick the positives out of this, and I'm going to have a wee bit of a moan here.
I was just going to say that Dan is my yin to his. I'm his yin to his yang. Like I'm very optimistic. He's very pessimistic for the most part.
Yeah, I mean we're both really, really passionate supporters when it comes to it. But I'll end up picking apart the holes that's wrong, saying this needs to improve. This needs to improve. And Murray be like, Dad, just shut up and say and enjoy the win, like.
Yeah, like shut up. Yeah, exactly. Well, the Glasgow game against Cardiff, that was my game of the weekend. I really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, no, well,
it was so much fun. Fair play to Cardiff, though. I know that's not Scottish related, but yeah, well done Cardiff for sticking in that fight. But Glasgow just a joy to watch. I'm just going to rattle off a few names and then we can go in a bit depth in a bit. But Jamie Dubé has been sensational this season already. Tom Jordan, please get him capped. I am begging you. It's because he is maybe that missing link, 10, 12, awesome player. Kyle Rowe, my beloved friend Kyle Rowe.
Fantastic game.
Awesome. Sione Tuipulotu. Best centre in
the world. Best centre in the world.
100%. Hugh Jones, Shuggy, back on the scoring. Richie Gray, Greg Hiddleston. The team, it was so good. Ben
It was
Afshar off the bench.
absolutely. But do you know what? The growth that Ashfar has really impressed me over the last couple of seasons. Like I remember when he got his debut, I thought I always wanted to keep an eye out. He wasn't too flashy, he got the job done, but like he seemed to be in his element. And when the structure of the game broke down, he was properly in his element. Really impressed by Ashfar. But look, just before I go to get into Glasgow, I do want to say one thing about Cardiff. They have blown me out the water. They've really impressed me. I'm not sure if you saw my preseason predictions that I did for every single side, and I had Cardiff really, really low down the rankings. I didn't think they were going to do that well at all, and in every game I had predicted them, to lose, and in almost every single game so far they've proven me wrong. So I'm going to take back everything I said about Cardiff. They look decent.
Yeah, fair. I like that. I agree with you though. I did say I didn't have them in like very high. I think the highest ranked Welsh team I had was the Ospreys. So sorry,
Yeah.
Cardiff fan. But yeah, I'll let you go on to the champions now.
Yeah, I mean, like, I want to start with Tuipulotu. I mean, I don't know where you go. Where outside of him, he's so good. He's so powerful. His passing ability is insane, and it's the dummy runs that he makes as well. Like when they played Cardiff, when he does this little swap with Jordan, where he runs out one side, so he pulls across two or three defenders with him, but then they just flip the ball the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's so skillful and so strong, he can't be left unmarked, because if you leave him unmarked, he just runs through you or around you.
Well, he did both to score that try. I don't know how he got that. I've watched it back so many times, and no one touches him apart from poor Callum Sheedy that gets absolutely obliterated. Yeah.
He had the black eye before the game, bless him. He must have had some bruised ribs afterwards.
Very much. But yeah, I
Yeah,
agree. I mean, we're in the Lions season. Sione's got to be on that tour, surely.
yeah. I saw someone saying to you that they thought that Ollie Lawrence was better than Tui Piloto. Not a chance. Like, don't get me wrong, Lawrence is a great player, but he's some way behind the likes of Tui Piloto. You'd imagine it'd be him and Aki for the Lions. I mean, look, there are other centres out there, but none at that sort of level.
Fair. I mean, Sione and Gary Ringrose would be very fun to watch, I think. That'd be quite cool. I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah, I'm still all about Aki and Tuipulotu, though. That's
Yeah,
just
I still want to
destructive.
keep them up there. Yeah, because that's just
Yeah,
I'm quite traditional when it comes to centres. I want destruction in the midfield. And you don't get much more destruction than Bundyaki and Sione Tuipulotu hand in hand.
I know that Tuipulotu can play both inside and outside centre. Can Aki?
They both can.
Can the both of them play both?
Yeah.
Okay, I knew Tuipulotu could. I wasn't sure about Aki.
No, Aki's played 13 a few times.
Okay, so yeah, definitely I'd go Aki Tuipulotu there. Um, I like to see Glasgow. I've noticed they're doing a little bit of the Leinster, where they're putting out, and they did it last season as well. They sort of go out with most games, 75, 80% strength, unless they're playing like a Leinster or someone. They always tend to have the ability and the depth to rest a couple of players. I think Hastings got a rest. I'm not sure if that was due to injury or concussion. Kyle Steyn got rested for Cardiff. It's good that we can keep some of these players fresh and we don't have to play them all week in and week out. Well, I say we, but Glasgow.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, you can just look at some of the youngsters, as you say, like Max Williamson, Nathan Macbeth, Gregor Brown, Jamie Dobie. I still can't get over how young Jamie Dobie actually is.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, skill wise, he's got raw skill. I think he's got a little bit to go to harness it. Like, it's fantastic as he was for Glasgow against Cardiff. He also made a lot of mistakes as well. That's something that'll come in time, with the age that he's at. So, look, I don't want to talk like I'm chatting the player down. He's definitely a really, really bright prospect. But, like, he had that kick charge down more than once. he had a couple of handling errors. There was a good couple of mistakes in the game that I felt like a more experienced head wouldn't have made. But that's something that's only going to come with time. You make all your mistakes when you're young, so
That's fair. I agree with that.
uh, my negativity started to creep in for you
No,
there.
as soon as I heard it, I was just like, we're off to a fly.
Did
No, but Tom Jordan, like he's eligible for Scotland now through residency. He was eligible for England due to a grandparent, I believe, but he was to move down to the
this
Prem.
autumn,
Yeah, he's
he's,
eligible.
he's
Yeah, he's ready to go.
okay. Wow, yeah, he
Get him
has to
cap.
start the first game then. Yeah, Fiji. Fiji's a first game, isn't it?
Fiji, it's not in the international window, so it's only Edinburgh, Glasgow.
Oh, he definitely has to go there. I mean,
Has to.
one other thing that doesn't get said about Tom Jordan outside of his skill is I think he's a good athlete as well. Like, the intercept he made when Callum Sheedy was behind him trying to catch him, and he had gas for days. And he's quite a physically strong player as well.
Yeah, quite a big guy, yeah.
Tom Jordan. He reminds me of Owen Farrell a little bit, in mainly good ways, although he does share in Farrell's tackling technique. It's a little bit high and a little bit risky, but he's a fantastic player. I mean, if you could iron that one bit out of his game, he's golden.
Again, he's still quite young as well.
Mm-hmm.
That'll come with experience. And the fact that he's like, he can play 10 and 12 kind of keeps him in that match day 23 a lot of the time. He's got a fairly decent boot on him as well now. Yeah, it's just get him capped. Come on, please.
Yeah, no, definitely getting capped. Where would for you in the Scotland pecking order of tens? Let's forget about 12s. Where does he go in the pecking order on his current form right now? Just pretend he's already had a cap.
Current form, I'd have Tom Jordan. You could argue third, to be honest. Third choice. Finn Russell is clear as day.
Yeah.
Adam
No, I don't think it is arguing that.
I know Adams had like a rough start of the season because of that head knock that he got against Benetton, but still, overall, Adam probably is number two. And then, like you said, down to form, Tom Jordan's getting more game time and putting his name forward over Ross Thompson and Ben Healy, who are still trying to essentially hash out who is one and two, just at Edinburgh, let alone for Scotland.
I think Thompson's winning that one, in my opinion.
He's winning it right now.
I'm sure we'll touch that later.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I put Tom Jordan third, and I think he's snipping at the heels of Hastings, like he's breathing down his neck, like
100%. But this is what I like, and this is what I'm wanting for Edinburgh as well. Competition within club ranks benefits the players as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Like scrum half, Jamie Dobie is chomping at the bit of George Horn. George Horn hasn't started a game this season yet. I know we're only 3 rounds in, but it's still quite impressive. Tom Jordan, like you said, nipping at the heels of Adam Hastings. We've got Kyle Rowe on the wing, still putting his hand up over. Right now, Kyle Rowe starts over Darcy Graham, in my eyes. Again, on form.
On form. I want to talk to that a bit later, but yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, I can see why. Okay.
And he plays fullback as well, so you've got that extra drop back.
Yeah.
Nothing against Darcy. I love Darcy. Not a bad thing.
If you to pick on form, I mean, I'd rather you the other day on.
Kyle Rowe's getting the nod.
Yeah. I mean, most of the Glasgow boys, they're the champions on form. I think that the spine of the Scotland squad has to be built around the champions. They're the champions, they win comfortably, and you sprinkle in players from other parts, but the spine of that squad has to be Glasgow.
Oh, yeah, I agree. But look at any successful team from any country. There is a spine from a club.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a reason why that is.
Yeah, because they know how to play each other. They know how each other thinks. I mean, you've got players that break the mold like Schumann, just to pick up one. Schumann's always constantly a high performer. Yeah, he could drop straight into them, but you keep the squad a bit, Glasgow is the core of the squad.
You need that continuity, of course. Absolutely. Well, we've mentioned enough of the players, so we may as well just jump straight over to South Africa now.
Hold on,
Edinburgh.
hold on. Let me finish up with Glasgow. I
Okay.
had
Thanks, bye.
There was one thing that annoyed me, and I picked this up during the Ulster game, right?
Okay.
Glasgow are conceding a little bit too much for me. Their defence was their highlight. Hold on, the defence was last season something they were praised on. They were almost impossible to break down, and I feel like that slipped a little bit this season. Now I don't know whether that's is it rust? Is it because of the champions? Like their system's been analysed and it's been worked out,
Possibly.
or I felt like going back to the Ulster game, and I think Franco Smith has probably booted them out of that. I think Glasgow thought they had that game won by half time, and it just never seemed to happen. Other than that,
Well,
their attack's on fire, 52 points, but to concede 36, and look, I know I said I've been Cardiff are a great side, but 36 points is still a lot to concede.
you're not the first person I've heard this from this season. So it's not just you. Don't worry
It's not
about
just
it.
me.
I have had messages from other people regarding Glasgow Warriors, and it is worrying how much points are conceded. I'm like, but they're winning games, and that's like what we
Yeah.
joked about earlier. And I know that's not the point because you do want to keep points conceded down to like next to zero as best as possible.
Penalties as well, especially when Glasgow get about 5 metres, 10 metres away from their own try line. As much as, especially Ulster,
Hmm.
they had about 20 minutes when they were parked back, and the reason that they were parked back in their own 5-10 metre from their own try line was that they just kept giving away advantage after advantage after advantage. So it didn't matter what happened. They'd eventually win the ball back, but they just didn't get another crack at it. And
Yeah.
it seems to consistently keep happening. I know we're only 3 games in, but I really hope that gets worked on because that seems to be Glasgow's Achilles heel. And when they go into the Champions Cup, that'll get
Yeah.
exploited.
Yeah. No, I agree. I get what you're saying. I do agree with you on that. Well, let's talk about conceding points and giving away daft penalties and not winning. Edinburgh. That has not
Oh,
been a great
let
start.
the side down. No, I know it's still been a great. It's not been a great
I think,
couple of seasons.
no, I know, and I'll let you get into that. But I'm you see my video. I dropped 3 or 4 f bombs
Mhm.
very quickly on that because I was just like, you know what? Even when so if you don't follow me on TikTok, I always try and look at the brighter side. Like if we get beat, I will praise the team that beat us, talk through who played well on that opposition side. But let's look at what worked well for Edinburgh, for example. I couldn't do it this week. I generally couldn't because there was nothing worked. How do you get, and I mean this the nicest way possible, how do you go 48-0 down to essentially the worst South African franchise?
Yeah, it's belief. Like I said in mine, it's not an ability issue with Edinburgh. It's a self belief, and I've been saying this for a couple of years. It filters through to Scotland as well. This horrible mentality, this loser's mentality, and I hate to word it like that, but that's what it is. I mean, you
Yes.
look at the players. Like if you were to take a full strength Edinburgh side, right? They've got what Felly, Darcy Graham, Duhan van der Merwe, Pierre Schumann, Grant Gilchrist, Hamish Watson, Jamie Ritchie, Magnus Bradbury. Like these aren't amateur players; these are top level internationals. Um, Most squads would snap these players up in an instant, but you put them all together, and they've had 3 defeats on the bounce. They
Yeah.
finished what was it 10th last season. They finished 12th the season before that.
Yeah.
And there's something in that Edinburgh squad, in their core belief, that I don't think they believe in themselves. And I saw it in that Leinster game that we went to, when
Mm.
it looked like we were going to win it in the last 10 minutes and we couldn't seem to seal the deal against Leinster. But the second the clock went red and we could no longer win that game, we went and scored a try. So, like, the ability within the squad is there. It's just that they don't believe that they can do it. That's my
It's hard
thought
to
on
argue.
it. Anyway,
No, I know. It's hard to argue with it because, like, there is something missing, and it is hard to pinpoint like what is going wrong. Like you said, like look at the team, it is stacked,
yeah,
but like I'm really glad that I was on like dad duties when that game was on because I was frothing at the mouth just out of rage. For if people don't know me personally, I hate losing. Edinburgh, Scotland, Exeter Chiefs. I am an Exeter Chiefs fan for the Prem. If they lose, it does ruin my day. It puts me in a little
you were fuming
not
that day.
not a downward spiral, but it does kind of sink me a little bit. And then trying to be a content creator and have constant comments and reminders about how poorly you did, it doesn't help. But you try and move past it or try and like really seal it quickly. I couldn't seal this one.
No,
And
it was weird.
yeah,
I felt like on that day our emotions completely swapped because out of the two of us, it's usually me that's screaming, shouting and swearing at my TV,
yeah,
picking up all the negatives and that. And I ended up, and I was a little bit annoyed with it because I was meant to be working that day. I managed to swap it, get an early shift, and I took a couple hours off so I could finish early so I could see the game.
mm,
And because of how bad we started, I had told myself before the game, I was like, probably not going to win this. And, in my head, I was like, if we came away with a losing bonus point or two, I'd be happy with it. I was always going to swear there.
the
And
no,
my expectations were low, but
you know the bit that
48-0 at half time.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't
the
mean to
bit,
cut you off there.
no, you're fine, you're all good. The bit that got me, and I think that's what annoyed me even more. We won the second half, 21-7.
It means nothing, though.
I
I'm sorry, I don't
I
know.
know it means nothing, but it was almost like, well, where was that in the first half? Because like
Yeah.
Hamish Watson is a tackling machine overall,
Mm-hmm.
career wise.
Mm-hmm.
Jamie Ritchie is loves a turnover, like can sniff when the ball's out. Magnus Bradbury is a
Yeah.
big deal, and yet they were all getting bypassed. How?
Yeah, I mean,
Like
it was
no
when we
thing.
went coast to coast twice in the same game. Just we
Yeah,
conceded the exact same try that we
yeah.
did almost phase for phase that we conceded against the Bulls the week before. And you'd think at a professional environment that that would be something that on the briefing on Monday should have been pointed out to them. And it probably was, but for it to happen again in the next game, but actually for it to happen twice
Yeah.
in the next game is absolutely mental.
What I don't get, and I said this to you, I think it was in your comment actually. You comment on my video asking what would I change. The warm up. What is going on? So that's 3 games now that Edinburgh's put out a team to face Leinster, face Bulls, face the Lions, and every game there's been a late change. So what are you doing in the warm
Yeah.
up? I understand you need to get the body like game ready, get the mindset all going, get the blood flowing all that. But if you're working too hard that players are now injured, stop. Like
Yeah.
you're going
It's
too
been like
hard.
that for a couple of years. Even before Everett came in, Edinburgh's injury list has been massive. I don't know what they're doing with conditioning at Edinburgh, but they seem to have an injury list double or three times the size of most
Honestly,
other
yeah.
squads in the URC.
Like I remember you sending me, and again, without trying to sound disrespectful to the players, majority of it wasn't a big deal. Like some of them might play 1 or 2 games all season, but then it's like Emiliano Buffelli is now out for another couple of months. I actually,
Did you hear Tom English's interview? When he spoke to Sean Everett, they asked him about it, and he said it's the same sort of problem he had before. He's to go to and speak with a surgeon, and they're looking at maybe 6 months. If it's anything remotely similar to what he had before, that the fella could be out for another 6 months.
I
Um,
actually, I don't like saying this or even thinking this. I have a really funny feeling Buffelli's going to retire from this.
really hope not.
I hope
If
not.
your body
I
just
don't want
tells you
that.
no,
I don't want that either. But it's just He had some back issues at the end of last season. He then pulled up in the warm-up due to a back spasm. I've
Mhm.
never had one, but I know that they are horrendous.
Yeah,
And
I had
then,
one once years ago, and it sticks with you for months,
and then
absolute months. It can play with you.
it looked like it required surgery. He put up on social media, "You won't see me play for a while," and that's where me and
Mhm.
you were talking at the start of the season when I did like Edinburgh's strongest team, and I didn't put Bethel in it because I was like, well, he's already said you won't see him play for a while. He played the pre-season friendly against Gloucester, was meant to be on the bench for Leinster, and pulled up during the warm-up due to back injuries. That's now gone. So did he rush back, or do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what's happened there, but it's not great.
There's a lot of consistent problems in Edinburgh, and like, look, when I do my videos on that, I try my best not to point out any individual performances just because, look, I'm not a professional rugby player, I don't know what it's like in that environment. And I would
Mm.
hate for one of them to come and watch me at my job for a day, having never have done it, and told me, oh, you know what, this guy's crap, he needs the sack or whatever.
Yeah.
So I try not to do it for them. That's the mentality I've got with it. But one thing I will say is my performance, like most people's jobs, is, you know, I'm measured on my performance. And if my performance was to drop below a standard that was deemed acceptable for, a couple of months, I'd be reprimanded for it. If it went on for 2 or 3 years, I'd get the sack. I mean, at very least, I'd be punted to another department or another team.
Yeah.
So for Edinburgh to have these recurring issues when it comes to performance or injury lists topping the URC, who's in charge of monitoring this? Or, is it just a mentality of, what, the SRU will keep throwing money at it and eventually it'll just stick? Because something's really not working with it.
I don't know. I also don't know because like people were asking me the other night, like they were asking, did Musesi to Pelosi play well? Now I couldn't answer that because I said it's not that he played bad, but he didn't play. Like, no one in that Lions game played great. Nobody played well.
Uh, there's one or two I thought were okay. And I think I said it to you.
Yeah, but okay, not well or good. That's what I'm saying. So I was kind of hard to say who played good and who played really crap in a performance like that when you're just kind of looking at the whole team going, what's happening here?
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I've had time to think about it, and I'm going back to my positive self a little bit. A little bit. I'm still not happy. I am really hurt that's how we finished our South African tour. But we've got Leinster out of the way, and we've done our South African tour, so we can just march on now.
Well, see, here to be the yin to your yang, yeah, I look at Edinburgh's three games. That Leinster game, I feel like we should have won on the first one.
Mm-hmm.
We really, really should have won it, and mentality stopped them from doing it. I walked away quite sour after that game. When we played the Bulls, I mean, we had them on the ropes. And let's be honest, we went out with our A team, and most of the Bulls were away with the Springboks for the Rugby Championship, all their big hitters anyway. That's a game that we should have been winning. Like, before the season started, we had Leinster up first, and then we got to go to South Africa while the Springboks weren't at home. And just when they went coast to coast on the Bulls game, that was it. And then we completely capitulated against the Lions. Like, I've never seen a
I'll never see
team
it.
lose that bad. And then once they scored those tries, I got my hopes up a little bit, thinking, right, it's out the window. Maybe it was just a horrendous half. But you know what? Let's take a try bonus point out of this.
Yeah.
So at least we don't leave empty handed. And just in the manner that they threw it away in the end, it was just brain dead. And on that performance, like if I was Gregor Townsend looking at Edinburgh squad, and Townsend's now under big pressure to deliver for Scotland, I'd be thinking to myself, I'm not sure how many of these guys I can trust in a Scotland shirt. There's other
Yeah.
players who just want it more, and they're
Yeah.
consistently performing at a higher level. And that's not to say that these guys for Edinburgh aren't good players. We know individually how good they are, but until they perform, it's hard
No,
to
I know.
justify picking them.
I know. I understand that because I've always been a player. Always been a player. No, I haven't. I've always been a person that form over name value.
Me too.
I would have 15 uncapped players if they were all firing on all cylinders.
Hmm
Not just for Scotland, for club, for country, anything. I've always been
Yeah,
form over
yeah.
name value. And I understand you need name value because you need butts and seats and all that, but there is a fine line.
Mhm.
Nobody will get it right. Nobody gets that part of selection correct. So
Yeah. I I do want to say there's one or two people that I don't want to tar with this brush for in the Lions game. I thought Bowen Venter had a fantastic game. I actually thought he was really good. And one of the only players that I would have given a pass mark. I actually thought Maggie was all right as well. Um, uh, I disagree with you on that one.
don't know, like that the first half just completely threw me, and there was stuff happening that I didn't know was possible.
Mhm,
And actually, I'll say Patrick Harrison did quite well coming off the bench.
mhm. Yeah, no, he did quite well as well. And it was some of their not their regulars. I think Ross Thompson was okay when he came on. Um, but I thought Darcy Graham had a really, really poor game for his standard. I thought defensively, like there
He's
was
got
two of his tries where I was thinking, what are you doing?
yeah.
Um, yeah, there was, and that's not like him because Darcy is, before he got his injury last season, he was up there thinking, look, is he one of the best wingers in world rugby right now? But he had a bad day at the office.
I think we all did, and I'm hoping
Yeah.
that I hope that that's like the end of that. I really do because we're back home this weekend.
Yeah.
We are back home this
hmm
week. Both teams are home this weekend, I believe. Both Glasgow and Edinburgh.
I think I'd have to check. I'm not actually too. I
Edinburgh's
know
at
we've
home.
got Stormers. I don't know
Edinburgh's
who
at home.
Glasgow got next. I'll have a quick look.
I want to say they've got Zebra. I'm not entirely convinced. I'm sure they've
Yeah,
got.
that rings a bell. I'm pretty sure it's Zebra at home. Uh,
Well, we can predict them.
Yeah, Zebra at home Friday night.
Well, they're Friday night. Are we Saturday?
We're Saturday about 5 o'clock.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm going to be there. Uh,
Same.
Friday, Friday 5 o'clock's a good time, right? Because you know what, I do the words here. I enjoy a beer, right? But I tend to have them at the rugby. So I don't really drink much when I'm at home, and 5 o'clock's a good time. Enough time to maybe get a little buzz going, and at the match it's good, and it's not too late. If you go to like a 7:30 kickoff, just getting
Friday
home
night.
afterwards, I find it a bit of a nightmare.
I like a Friday night lights, but like Dan, you know this firsthand. I don't drink on a Friday night lights because getting home is a nightmare.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll say no to a drink on Saturday.
I do because you, I do because you drive.
Yeah, because I drive. Yeah, I'm generous. Man. That's all good though.
We'll probably have to swap that at some point. I'll have to drive you at some point.
We'll figure it out. It's all good. Don't worry about it. Yeah, Glasgow Zebra. Glasgow, surely, obviously. Scots.
Yeah. You think you'd hope they'd be putting 50 on us, but Zebra have a little bit of
Hey,
the
no,
after what they did to Munster.
wait. Time out. You want two 50-point wins for Glasgow in 2 weeks. You greedy boy.
Yeah. Call me greedy, but that's the standard that I'm going to hold Glasgow to for the rest of the season. They are the
55
champions. I'm
points.
not. Yeah. What against Zebra, the team that's finished
All
bottom
right,
of the table
no,
for three
no.
seasons
Just
running
because
at
the season,
home?
he was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, not all season, not for every game, but at home against Zebra, the champions versus the worst team in the division. Although they did put everyone on notice after beating Munster, like
They did. Then it went
that
really,
was a bit
really wrong.
dicey.
Then it went wrong against the Stormers. So
Yeah, yeah. Do you know, I had a couple of Munster fans sort of giving me a little dig
You're
when
again.
Edinburgh got humped by the Lions. After that, this is quite good after what you were saying about Munster. So
You're
I
hopeful.
suppose what goes around comes around.
No, I've got Glasgow by a big comfy margin. I reckon they're going to go a bit more rotational. Like Gregor Hiddleston might get the nod at 2. Ben Alsher might get a start. Stuff. Duncan Weir might start at 10.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
I'd probably say Jordan. You probably find because the Glasgow and Edinburgh feed Scotland, that Townsend has a little bit of an input of who he wants to see. You probably find there'll be players that Townsend is considering who are on the fringes of the Scotland squad that Townsend would probably want to see play against Separate because it must be what next week Scotland are going to announce their training
Well,
squad.
I'm glad you said that because my Scotland team comes out. Well, we're recording on the Sunday. Mine's just coming out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Tuesday. I might read injury reports first. I don't want to look a great tit. And be like, yeah, he's played. He's out. He's injured. Oh, right. Okay.
I wouldn't worry too much about it.
Glasgow's going to get a comfortable win against Zebre. Saturday, Edinburgh Stormers. Come on,
Are the
please.
Springboks going to be back for that, or are they still going to be away?
They're still away. They're already on tour, so
Do you know what? I've had Edinburgh to win every game this season, and they've let me down on every game. I'm struggling to see an Edinburgh win. I really am, and it's not. Again, it's not a skill level. It's look. I'll be there. Spending my money, cheering them on, and I want them to win. But if they do, it's going to be slim. They're going to have to get a few wins under their belts to shake this monkey off the back. I think the Challenge Cup can't come quick enough for Edinburgh. They need to start recording some wins and get the confidence up. So maybe I'll wait to see the squads. Maybe Edinburgh to win. Oh, excuse me. But I say Edinburgh by 2 or 3.
I'll tell you that. I'm saying Edinburgh for the win. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done. We've done the hard part really of the season, and it's now like we're lucky that it is very early on in the season, and you can bounce back from it.
Uh-huh.
There's time to bounce back. There's a lot of games left. We're back home, and they want to put a show on for the fans. Ben Vellacott even said that himself. But leading on
Yeah.
to, but you did say something a little minute ago that I want to go into next. It's a little new segment. Well, everything's a new segment in this show. It's the first episode.
Yeah.
Like Scott Watch sort of thing. So players that are eligible for Scotland or capped by Scotland that aren't Edinburgh or Glasgow. Mostly Prem, shall we just say.
So Prem and Blair Kinghorn.
Prem. Johnny Gray's in Bordeaux. Johnny Gray's doing well.
Yeah. He seems to be a bit of a fan favourite actually since going over, from what I can see.
He's putting an Ironman shift every game.
All right, well, that's what he is. He's a tackle machine.
Just love it.
But he's in a wee bit where it's like he always came across as a little bit lightweight for Locke. Maybe that's just compared to his brother, who's 6'11".
Yeah, 6'10", Richie is, and Johnny. I say only 6'6", but that's still a good 5 inches taller than me. So there we go. Yeah, no, Johnny Gray's back with Bordeaux, possibly playing his best. He's been out for 15 months, and we have missed him dearly. Where Kinghorn,
that one's been 15 months.
He was out 15. He injured his kneecap, and it just did not get any better. And then he asked for his release from Exeter Chiefs. People were speculating he was going to come back home to Glasgow Warriors. I kind of like that idea. Because before he got injured, it was rumoured he was going to Bordeaux, and then he got injured, and then there was just no word of it because I'm like, well, why would Bordeaux want an injured player. But no, they stuck true to it. Basically, like, once you're better, there's a contract waiting for you. So fair play to Bordeaux for that.
Yeah, for letting him on because he's a class player. So I really hope that he
Hopefully
comes
get
back.
him.
I'm not. How old is he now? I'm not sure if a comeback for Scotland would be on the cards. Not on the A team anyway.
I 100%. I fully believe he's going to be in that Scotland team.
You think he's going to be called
Also,
up in the
I'm
for the
also
autumn?
being very selfish because Richie's announced he's leaving at the end of November, probably to Japan, I imagine.
Yeah, well,
I want the
you do.
Greys together one last time.
Yeah, I've said this before. I'd like one where all the brothers play, both the two
All the brothers.
Polottos, both the Greys,
Um,
both the Fagersons.
yeah, why not? Why not?
Put them all.
Yeah, obviously Blair Kinghorn's doing well over in Toulouse because Blair Kinghorn to Toulouse is like a duck to water. It is just
Mhm.
sensational. He is right up there now.
They've lost the last two games in the bounce, though, haven't they, Toulouse?
Have they?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Toulouse has lost the last two games on the bounce. I don't know what's going on with them this season.
Mm. It's because Dupont was by outside centre. I
What's he
don't
doing in
know.
America halfway through a season?
I don't know. I honestly, I feel once they get past a certain like level, like name wise, they just do what they want half the time.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, Blair's still doing quite well at Toulouse. The Prem's very interesting. The last few rounds for the Prem's been interesting. Just for what you mentioned earlier, on the cusp players.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
no,
I mean,
I say on the cusp. Andy Christie will be in that Scotland team because he is
yeah.
fantastic. But
I think he's to be a regular starter for Scotland, Crispy.
oh, 100%. But his Saracens teammate, Fergus Burke, who has just came onto the radar,
Who's
he's like,
allegedly Scots qualified.
he is allegedly. I don't know where it's coming from, but he was in this name. He was in this list of players that Gregor Townsend wanted, and from that list, he has got over half of them. So
Where does he go in though? Like, whose place does he take?
I don't know. You're basically going to have you're essentially having Tom Jordan, Adam Hastings, and potentially Fergus Burke battling out for second place in the 10 years. It doesn't. You're not getting in.
Well, I suppose that Scotland have to prepare for life after Finn at some stage.
Life after Finn. Well, we've got the depth already, so
Yeah, life after
um,
Finn. I mean, hopefully Finn's got at least another 4 or 5 years in him, but he seems to be bulking up a little bit and looking after himself physically a little bit more now. I know Finn Russell wasn't big on that side of his game. He said, "My game's all up here. It's not, here." So,
Finn played well against Bristol. They did lose at the weekend, but
yeah.
Finn had a good game. Made some nice runs as well, so that was quite refreshing to watch. Do you know who's like on the cusp for me? And I don't know if I'd pick him or not.
Uh,
Rory Hutchinson.
I was just about to say that. I'm glad you didn't move away to another team. I don't know what he needs to do to get into the Scotland team.
Not be.
He's so good. He is
Yeah,
so good.
he
But
was fantastic for Saints against Quins on Friday night. That was a great
yeah,
match, but he was everywhere. But with him pushing, trying to do his best to get his hand up, Cam Redpath also just returned from injury.
yeah. I mean, I take Hutchinson above Cam Redpath at the moment. I like Cam
Ooh.
Redpath, but I like Hutchinson more. I mean, I'd like to see him get a start, in like a Six Nations game against Ireland or something. Like, I really think he's that good. Hutchinson is one of the best centres. I don't know what to
I
do.
He's
Um,
came around
I
at the wrong
crowbar,
time.
yeah,
If he was around
crowbar
like
him alongside Tui Piloto.
Hutchie Piloto, there we go. It works. Yeah, why not? You have to think of the nickname with Piloto in it, and if it works, then you can do it.
Hachi
Watch
Pelotu.
Tui Pelotu. So brothers, you've got Huey Pelotu, you've got McDowell Lotu, you've got Staney Pelotu. Even for Edinburgh it works with Masesi. You can do Curry Pelotu, you can do Scotty Pelotu, Langy Pelotu. Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah, it's all in the name. It's all in the name.
Yeah, so Rory Hodgson's like really chomping at the bit. But again, who does he come in for? Because ideally, you pick
Jones.
5-6 centres.
Like, if I had to look at the Scotland squad last season, right? And be like, out of that Scotland squad, whose place is most at risk? You'd have to say it'd be Hugh Jones and the two wingers. Like, who's under pressure of retaining the spot?
Yeah, that's fair.
I mean, two Piloto's solid. He's not going anywhere. I don't think, Kinghorn's going anywhere. But neither's Finn Russell. Just looking at the backs for a minute. I think Ben White is probably fairly nailed on. There's an argument for George Horn, but the type of player that Townsend likes, I don't see it getting moved away from him.
I would chuck in Gus War as well. Gus War's having a hell of a season at Sale.
I know you're a big fan of Gus War.
Big fan of Gus War. I really like Gus War. But then you've also got Jamie Dobie as well.
A bit more of him.
You've got 4 scrum halves that are doing extremely well, putting their hand up, and I'm all for it because depth's great. Plus, we don't actually need 4 scrum halves this autumn.
No.
How?
I don't think we need 4.
We're going to need 4 because ideally, I imagine Gus Moore and Ben White will be selected.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they're overseas players, and the Fiji game is out with the international window, is it not?
Yeah, well, Ben Bellicott, I'd call up for that one. I think he's probably one of our most underutilized players.
So would you have Dobie? Would you have Dobie and Bellicott, or Horn and Dobie, or Horn and Bellicott, or? Because I'm starting Jamie Dobie.
I take Dobie on the squad. I'm not sure if he'd start. I'd probably like to start Bellicott because we all know what Horn can do. If I'm just looking at the Fiji game, right?
Yeah,
I'd like to start Bellicott. Yeah, for Fiji, I'd start Bellicott because if I'm only picking Glasgow and Edinburgh players, then there's not many Edinburgh players I would bring, but Bellicott I'd start at 9 because I already know what Horn can do, right? I'd have him in the squad. I'd probably have Jamie Dobie as well, but maybe I'd have him on the bench. I mean, he can play wing, so I'd fit him in somewhere, but for the experience because he needs it. But I'd like to see what Bellicott could do at an international level.
I don't hate it. I am sticking to my guns. I am having Jamie Dobie start for Scotland against Fiji. I would have Ben Bellicott off the bench if selected, but I imagine it would be George Horn. I think the 4 is George Horn, Jamie Dobie, Ben White, and Gus War.
I'd keep Horn for South Africa. I'd keep him for I wouldn't because we've got South Africa's at set game 2, isn't it? The World Champions.
Second week, yeah.
Yeah. So I know I wouldn't. There's a high chance of getting players injured in the Fiji game, and for God's sake, keep Adam Hastings away from Fiji.
Yeah, don't let Adam Hastings near a Fijian. Don't do it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, too high risk. There's certain players I'd like to wrap in cotton wool for South Africa. Like I wouldn't want to play Kinghorn. I might start Rowe in that game at fullback.
Oh, for Fiji, yeah, for Fiji, yeah. Sorry, I was
for Fiji, yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
No. There's certain players like Scotland star players. I'd wrap them up in cotton wool. If you're going to put them on against Fiji, you get them coming off the bench and getting 20, 30 minutes under the belt. You don't risk injuring them against Fiji if you've got the World Champions coming next.
Right. We're going to do this now then. We're going to do it every week, but we're talking about it already, so we might as well. So, hypothetically, Scotland are playing this weekend. We're going to pick a team Just a starting 15, not really asked for bench, just a starting 15
Yeah.
of who would play based on form. So who's your front row, Dan?
Oh, all right. For me, I would go Schumann,
Yeah.
Johnny Matthews, Xander Fagerson.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, 100% I agree with that.
Who are your locks?
Well, Scott Cummings and Richie Gray.
Yeah, I can't argue that. Can't argue that at all. Um, so what was it? We'll go Richard Gray and Cummings. Now, your back row, this is
Back row's
a
tasty.
lot harder. Now, it's tasty. You know my feeling with a big bastard back row.
Well,
Like, oh,
that's
honestly,
what I was actually going to go for there. I was actually going to give you credit for that one. I was going to go Andy Christie at the 6, Matt Fagerson on the 7, and big bad Jack Dempsey at the 8. There you go.
yeah. The thing is, you could put Maggie in there somewhere as well. It's just
Yeah,
I feel
Magnus is big enough. That's
sometimes,
great.
yeah. I mean, I'd probably actually keep Magnus on the bench just because he can cover 6, 7, and 8.
Hmm.
He's such a versatile player to have. But you drop Dard. Like Dard just had such a great start to the season.
I
It's
know,
like
but
right. Dempsey's at 8, right? He's nailed on. Dempsey's at
uh,
8. So
yeah.
it's who you put at 6 and 7. And I think Matt Fagerson's great. Christie's great. No, I go Christie, Dards, Dempsey.
You see the problem we have though. It's not a bad thing though. Like the problem we have at back
No.
row, there's too many.
Yeah. Would you vary away from that ever slightly?
I like the Fagerson at 6, Dard 7, Dempsey 8. Yeah, I like that.
Like,
Chris,
I feel bad for, Magnus Bradbury missing it. Matt Fagerson, I feel,
Christie would
doesn't
probably
deserve
come.
to miss out.
Christie would probably come on the bench in this inform concept if we're doing it. If you know what I mean.
Well, you'd have to. I'd put Matt Fagerson above Magnus Bradbury at the moment, and he can
Yeah.
cover all three as well. Um, as much as I think Jamie Ritchie's been a great servant to Scotland, I don't think he makes it in right now. The competition's just too strong.
That's fair. Fair enough. And for
Right.
that,
Who's your Finn Russell obviously starts at 10, but who
Ben
starts
Russell's
at
obviously
scrum for
king.
you?
Yeah, it's not hands
Yeah.
down. I've got Jamie Dobie at scrum half right now.
Out of all the starting, like he
Oh,
in form above.
just out of everyone available.
Yeah, Scotland's best 15, or not that
Oh,
we're
sorry.
picking a strongest possible squad.
Gus War. Sorry. Gus War.
War.
Gus
What
War
are your
has had
big?
a sensational start of the season.
I go George Horn.
I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah, go. I was going to Horn or White, but I just,
So,
George Horn's
right,
a little bit more nippy. He can play wing and he can kick.
I'm
So
gonna put.
yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
I go Horn.
gonna take total this credit out of my name now. I don't watch much top 14 rugby.
Well, there's so much rugby on
I
to
don't
keep
have
an eye on.
time.
No. I used to only watch URC, and I've made sort of a commitment that I said I will try to watch 2 full Premiership games every weekend. Now that my partner works Saturdays, I've got a little bit more time, so I'll always do Edinburgh, Glasgow, and I'll do at least one other URC game, and then I'll
Yeah,
try and get 2 Prem games in there. But look, for your weekend, that's 5 games over the weekend. That's a lot.
it's worse in February because again, this doesn't affect this podcast, but it affects my content and the other podcast. But so URC, Prem,
Mhm.
Super Rugby. There's internationals going on. There's women's internationals going on. Yeah, but anyway,
Yeah.
Gus War would start at 9 for me tonight with Finn Russell at 10.
All right, cool.
Centre. Well,
All right, so
centre. Because
two plots nailed on for both of us, I imagine. It's just who accompanies them.
um, probably Hugh Jones.
Let's see. This is where I'm going to differ for you. I might be controversial saying it, but for me, I like him. He runs great lines, right? He's dangerous. He scored so many high-profile tries. And I've said this to you a few times. I thought it in the game against Cardiff. He doesn't pass enough for me.
No,
Like
no.
you just know he's always going to go run into contact. So it doesn't matter what lines you try to run. I also think that as much he's quick and he's fast, he's half a step slower than he was last season. Um,
I'm
he's still
intrigued.
great to have in the squad, but I go Hutchinson.
Oh, at 13?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't hate it. He's always been a 12 in my eyes. I know there's not hellish much of a
Tui
difference.
Pelotto can play both though, so just to make it work. I mean, you could easily put Tui Pelotto at 13 and move Hutchinson to 12.
I don't hate it. I like the sound of it. I
Yeah,
like it.
so I'm just looking at the other ones. Maybe if he got a little bit more game time, I might like to see Tui Pelotto, his brother, come in from Edinburgh. But
Actually,
so
there's just quickly on that, just before we finish off our team. Um, don't compare Musesi to Sione.
no, the different players, the similar
Very
players,
different
different
players.
apples and pears.
Apples and
Yeah,
pears and two Pilotos and yeah.
yeah, they're similar, well, similar and different at the same time. So you can't really compare them. And Tui Pelotto Senior has got a lot more game time underneath his belt
Yeah.
than his younger brother. So you have to remember that he's bulked up a little bit physically, where Moses is not hit his peak yet, and
Also,
mentally he's not as developed as
yeah,
his brother either. And that'll come in time. But
of
yeah,
course.
yes, it'd be unfair to compare the two.
But Sione was kind of an unknown when Glasgow got him as well. So I'm just saying it could work out very well.
Although Tui Pelotto hit the ground running for Glasgow, I remember I was invited onto a Welsh podcast that's no longer around anymore, and they were asking me about Tui Pelotto. And like he was running through players like Duhan at the time when he first came in. He's refined his game now because when he first came to Glasgow, he's been used as a battering ram.
Hmm.
He still has that. We saw it in Cardiff.
Still
He's got
can, yeah.
Callum Sheedy on his ass, but it doesn't happen as often anymore. He's
Hmm.
more refined, but yeah. Okay, so I have Huey Piloto and Hutchinson. You've got Huey Piloto.
I'm playing it safe, yeah. But I do like Hutchie
Right.
Piloto. I do
So
like the sound.
we agree with everyone so far by two players, 9 and 13. Right.
Sure.
So look, I think we both are going to have Kinghorn at fullback.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
who do you have in your wings?
Kyle Rose starts.
I want to say this here. Stein, at this moment in time, is our best winger. Kyle Stein is our best winger right now. You can't not start. He's captain of Glasgow. He can play more than one position. He's Mr. Consistent. He's not only does he score a lot of great tries and he's in the right place, he sets up a lot of assists as well. So for me, people go Darcy and Duhan as much as they've got that bit of X factor on them. If you were to plot that through the course of a season, and it's
As
taken
I'm
me a
told.
while to get to this point, I'd put Kyle Stein as our best winger and maybe a Lion.
Okay, okay. So I have got a Kyle starting, but it's not staying.
So you've got Kyle Rose right now, as in Kyle Rose
Kyle Rowe would be in the 14, and
at the starting 15. You put Kyle Rowe in.
yeah, but I'm trying to explain this right. So Kyle Stain to me, fantastic. I love Kyle Stain.
Mhm.
Everything you said, I agree with.
Right.
But there's a bit that I cling on to, and it doesn't matter what team. And this is kind of what gets me into trouble a lot. You said he plays very well in multiple positions, which
Yeah.
means he is perfect in my eyes for the number 23 jersey. Because then if anything happens, you put Kyle Stain on, and like it's fine. It's not an issue. And that's
Yeah,
why
but you can all. you can also move him to have someone else on the bench. His leadership skills, defensively, he's better than both wingers. Scotland get targeted under the high ball, and Stein is fantastic under the high ball. He's got leadership qualities. You compare him to Duhan, right?
Uh,
For a winger, Kyle Stain's not a small man. Kyle Stain's
well,
he's a beefy boy. Like it's just that
yes.
Duhan's a freak of nature. But
I just
yeah,
can't. I can't say it. I can't say it out loud. That's my issue as well. No, I'm sticking to my guns this week. I'm having Kyle Stein in 23.
okay,
Right.
right, okay. So he make the bench, but okay. So Kyle Rowe for you does he start 11 or 14?
14.
14. I
Well,
like Rowe, I really do.
Huh?
I like Rowe, I really do. And now I'm going to put your own argument against you. He also covers full pack. I think he's a better choice than Stain for the 23 jersey, mate.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Well, wait, Kyle Stein can play centre. So that's one more position. That's why he's in the 23. There you go.
yeah, so I'm going to play the no you card. So yeah, right, okay. Fine, there's one. Okay, so I'm not fussed if Kyle Stein plays 11 or 14.
Oh, you don't care. I couldn't care less. I
Yeah,
don't think
I'm
that
trying to
negative one.
think.
I think unless they're a kick, sorry to interrupt you there, Dan. I think
What?
unless they have like kicking as part of their games, like James Lowe has a hell of a boot for Ireland.
Mhm.
Doohan doesn't kick, Darcy doesn't kick, Kyle Stein doesn't really kick, and they're just Kyle Rowe. So it doesn't really matter which way they're on. Don't
Yeah,
make a difference.
I think Stein can kick. I mean, he doesn't use it often just because it's not in Glasgow's DNA. But I think Stein can kick.
You probably can't, but do you know what I mean? Like none of them like caught a ball, just yeah, and sink that back. None of them do it. They go run.
Mhm.
So I'm like, yeah, I don't care who wears 11, who wears. It doesn't make a difference to me. It's the same when you get people like for second rows, they're like, yeah, but he wears 5. What's the difference? There is no difference in the second row.
Just to throw another one into this winger argument, right? At
Right.
Toulouse at the moment, Kinghorn's being used as a winger. Would you consider putting
No,
someone else at fullback and moving Kinghorn to the wing?
I'd put Kyle Rowe at fullback if you're making me switch. If you're making me switch, I would just switch Blair and Kyle there and then.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of it, no, for
Do you
me,
know
but
who's
I was
actually
just going to put it out
not not in our form 15, but although he did get a man of the match this weekend,
there.
Aaron
Mhm.
Reid, Sale Sharks, unreal performance.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good.
Please tell me you've
But
seen his defensive effort.
I've not
Oh,
seen.
I'll send you the clip after we've done recording. Double double tackle on his own, try 7, unreal effort, and he's got wheels.
Yeah, I know he's got wheels now. I stand on the same place as Reed with I do with War. I think if you play one, you play the other, just so they link up. Um,
Hmm.
so if you're starting War, I'm not sure if you put Reed on the other wing, but I'd like to. They've not played enough in a Scotland jersey for me to start them yet. Like I'm happy to start them both against Portugal, maybe against Fiji.
That's
But if
fair.
I'm trying to pick what's our strongest squad at the moment,
No,
for
no,
me,
I
War
understand.
or Reed. Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
you've got Rowe on one wing. Who's playing 11?
The big man.
Dewey.
Yeah. That's what I said. I can't not say
Dwayne.
Dwayne. Yeah, Big Dewey in the 11. It just
Big
works for
Dewey in the
Scotland
11.
for the most part. It does work, and I love him too much to say I can't to drop him.
Yeah, yeah.
When you
Um,
have like normal conversations with the man away from a game that is not rugby related, and he gives you a cuddle, yeah, different.
no, he's a great lad. Like, but
No, I
yeah,
know.
I think is there's something. there's something about Darcy. So I thought, like, because look, I've gone the other way. Instead of Rowe, I'm going Kyle Steyn, right? And now in that scenario, do I go with two big men on the wings, or do I go with big man, little man?
I like the big man, little man aspect, but that's just me personally.
Um, Sometimes I do think Scotland can be a little bit lightweight. Do I go for two big men? Um,
Do you go lighter? You can go light and light. So Kyle Rowe and Darcy. That would be fun. I just don't know where you would put where you put that.
no, I could go Rowe and Steyn.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, right now on form, I don't pick Darcy or Doohan. Like if I, in good conscience, if I was picking my best Scotland squad now, right,
Mm-hmm.
I'm picking that on legacy. I'm not like both of them aren't in form at the moment. Yeah, I would be
No,
picking them on legacy.
I've not picked Darcy because he hasn't done really anything since his return. I know it's going to take a while because he was out for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But like, Doohan did score two against Leinster, and they were two very well worked.
Yeah. Do you know what? I go.
He was very active against the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it worked, but he was very active, and he was trying to come off his line a lot. Didn't play against the Lions because of this bloody warm up stuff that happens.
Fiasco.
But yeah, overall, I don't think he's bad. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not like
Yeah, no, no,
massively.
no. I know what you're saying. There's for me, this the only one that's safe is Stain. The others is a toss up, and like ask me when I'm in a different mood in a different
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
I
That's the
could
point of
probably
this.
persuade you to pick someone else. But yeah, right now, if you were to force my hand, I'd go Stain and Dewey as my wingers.
I like that. I do like that.
Kinghorn at the back. That's a monster back three, by the way.
Very tasty.
Johan Stain and Kinghorn, like that's
That's
a
the joy of
beast.
this as well. It's each week. So it might not. Edinburgh could absolutely have a blinder this weekend against the Stormers, and a lot of players put their hand up.
Yeah, they could do, but actually, I'm just thinking that putting it loud. My backs that I've picked, I've just realised how physically big they are. Okay, let me read them out. I've got them out here. You have Tui Pelotti Hutchinson, Giles Stain, Duhan van der Merwe, and Blair Kinghorn. Like, if they're all running at you in
Yeah.
formation, that, like, the sheer size of them, that's pretty difficult to stop.
And then pop off to that back row pod. Yeah.
Christy Dempsey and Targe.
Yeah. Crazy.
That's hard. I mean, if I wanted just to make it a little bit beefy, you've replaced Darge with Fagerson or Maggie.
Exactly.
If you just want to get the size bigger, just like, no, I'm not going skill, I'm just going size here.
Yeah, so that's our like informed Scotland team. But we're going to round it off quickly on a high note. Back in South Africa, but for the women's team, because it's the WXV2 tournament, and if you don't know, we won it last year, so we're looking to regain the title. And we are 2 for 2. Happy days. We beat
Looking good.
19-0 in week 1. That was a slugfest though, because the weather did not help either side, but still 19-0. Take that. And this week, 19-13 against Japan. And again, another good win. Alex Stewart getting her first ever Scotland try. Francesca McGee is just scoring for fun. She is just pace for days, and it's awesome to watch. And Rona Lloyd doing what she does best, and that's scoring tries as well. Rachel Malcolm, Rachel Malcolm, captain of the Scotland women's team. Her stat is ridiculous. 51 caps for our country now. She's captained 40 of them.
I'm glad that the SRU has like started paying the women's team because the transformation in the women's side since they've all gotten professional contracts is night and day. Like we're not number one, but we're ranked number 5th in the world at the moment.
In the world, yeah.
And, who who would have thought it? You give them professional contracts and all they have to worry about is rugby, and you get a fantastic team out of it. And I'm not going to know qualms saying it now. I think Scotland will retain their title.
Yeah, boy, good lad.
I do. Yes, I do. I think they will retain the title.
We have got it's a tough game for the final weekend. because there's no knockout stages in WXV. It's just
Mm-hmm.
point. You play 3 games.
Yeah.
Even though it's 6 teams per comp, you only play 3 teams.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and our final game's against Australia, who's also eyeing up that title. They're 2 for 2. Bring it on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get revenge from that World
Yeah.
Cup.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think they will, and I think it'll be great for women's rugby as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, great for Scottish rugby. So, and I'd like to see them, fill out games more. If they could get the Hive sold out on the regular basis, and once you do that, eventually it'd be nice, maybe 5 years down the line, to see the women's team also playing at Murrayfield.
So I actually think I don't think we're going to get Scotland playing at Murrayfield yet. And like you said, that might come a few more years. Sell out the Hive regularly, but I think this December we're getting the Edinburgh women, Glasgow women at Murrayfield.
Okay.
Double header it. You get more money because people just buy double header tickets. You get, I don't know, Callum Beattie or some singer in between the games, do a little show. Yeah, make it great for the crowd.
Yeah.
Don't know why I said yeah.
If you can get a couple of games there and do back to back, it's one of the things I think Welsh rugby do great. I mean, I know it's slightly different, but when they do Judgment Day and you buy tickets, you go into the Principality and you get 2 games back to back.
Exactly,
yeah. So I mean, it'd be a great day if they do something similar to Murrayfield.
Plus, it's also what Harlequins do every Christmas for the big game at Twickenham. The women open the day, and what I like is also the same opponent. So, like what I've just said with 1872, you have. I believe England used to do it a few years ago as well for the Red Roses. They would open the day for like an England Barbarians game or something like that, and then now look at where the Red Roses are. They're selling out Twickenham themselves. So.
Just before I forget this, did I hear on your live the other day someone saying that 1872 in Glasgow isn't going to be at Scotstoun? It's going to Hampden or something.
It's Glasgow Warriors are wanting it at Hampden, or rumoured to want it at Hampden. I'm all for that. I like that.
Yeah.
Get more people in.
See, this is where I stand with it, right? I would prefer. I think the atmosphere or sold out Hive, even though it's only 7,500, is better than getting 36,000. I think was it last time into Murrayfield. It's a better atmosphere. I'd be happy to meet somewhere in the middle, for the Edinburgh version, maybe to play it in Tynecastle or something like that, and get a sold out, 20, 25,000 or whatever it is.
Would be good.
Because it just I get for the finances rugby, you want as much in as you can get, but for the advert of the game, there's just 36,000 in Murrayfield. It makes it sound empty, but if you could find a stadium in the Edinburgh area that it's about 30k, and for like you play Easter Road or Tynecastle and properly sell it out.
Thing is, you could do that. You could argue that with the Hampden, because Hampden won't sell out.
Maybe I'm not sure Hampden Park's ever done rugby. I know Celtic Park hosted the final a couple of years ago.
Celtic Park held the final, and Ibrox did the sevens for the Commonwealth.
I didn't know Ibrox had ever hosted a rugby game before. I thought it was just Celtic Park was the only one in Glasgow.
Celtic Park hosted the Pro 12 final, or Pro 14 final, whatever it was. And Ibrox did the Commonwealth sevens in 2014 when Scotland hosted. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's the way to do it. I mean, you have to find the right balance, because if you're going to hold it away from Scotstoun, you want a ground that you're going to sell out just for the atmosphere.
Thing is, right, I think this, because you mentioned about it being at the Hive. So I was at the Edinburgh 150th anniversary event thing a couple of years ago, and Douglas Struth was there, like the principal, the boss of Edinburgh Rugby. And somebody basically asked him, like, why do Glasgow get to play their 1872 legs at Scotstoun, and we can't do it at the Hive.
At the Hive.
And he basically said it's because it's like 70% of our annual income comes off that game, which is insane.
Yeah. But the thing is, okay, I get the thought of let's move it Hampden Park, but the thing is, Scottish football will be taking a huge amount of the money that goes into that game, of the gate receipts, and they're probably going to take everything from food and drink at that game as well. So I'm not sure. Like, someone will run the numbers on this. Like, if you get, let's just say you get slightly more. Glasgow's a slightly bigger city, right? Let's say you get 40,000, 45,000 on a good day into Hampden or Ibrox or Celtic Park or wherever they put it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say Celtic Park. They did the last one. Celtic Football Club are going to take the majority. They're going to take probably 50% of the gate receipts, and they'll probably take everything on food and drink as well. So, for what you lose in atmosphere, how much do you give up? I said, well, okay, you get an extra, 20 grand in maybe. I don't know what the numbers are. You get an extra 50 grand in. But, as a spectacle, you're playing in a half-empty stadium. Is it really worth that?
It's an interesting one, but I'm sure we'll figure it out. But that's it. That's everything. Proper in depth this week for the first one.
Yeah, we have a lot of ground to cover. Unless you want to touch on Stuart Hogg.
Nope. Don't want to. I don't want to talk about it. I don't like talking about it. It makes me really uncomfortable. Just don't let him play.
Fair enough.
That's all I'm saying. Just don't let him.
He doesn't get back near a Scotland shirt for me.
Don't even think about it.
I don't think he does.
Like, don't even consider it. Don't even if Blair Kinghorn, touch wood, if he gets injured, cool. Still don't do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. We've got Rowe. We've got Harry Patterson.
Darcy Graham can play fullback. Yeah. Adam Hastings can play fullback.
Smith must be due. Yeah, Hastings can play fullback. Hugh Jones can actually play fullback.
See, we don't need him. It's all good.
Talking about, injury returns, is Ollie Smith due back anytime soon? I feel like he's been out a while.
He's going to be back in. But then Josh Mackay's doing fantastic. So.
Oh, that's what I wanted to touch on. Is he qualified for Scotland now? Six Nations, he doesn't make it for the autumn.
I don't think he knows.
That's a player I'd cap in the autumn if he was ready. Like, he's been quite good.
He's very good.
Josh Mackay.
Oh, well, I'm sure we'll talk about him next week as well. But this has been the first ever episode of the Celtic Kickoff. And we'll be back next week talking everything from Glasgow versus Vedbury, Edinburgh versus Stormers. We'll let you know how the women get on against the Wallaroos. We'll do our Inform 15. There might be some rugby news. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
don't know where we're going to put this yet. Yeah, it'll be a pleasure, mate. I'll be back to same time next week?
Same time next week, yeah, very much.
Well, hopefully my head's not too sore from being at the Hive the day before.
Hopefully I've got a voice, because I lose my voice really quickly at the games, but we'll see how it goes. Anyway, this has been the Celtic crossover. No, it's not. I've butchered it. Celtic Kickoff. I'll get used to it. It's all good. But yeah, episode 1, done and dusted, and we'll see you next time.